Hello, Postables! You're listening to Deliver Me a Podcast, hosted by Kaycee, Jess, and me, Cammie. Special thanks to James Jandrisch for letting us use his amazing music. Now, sit back, relax, grab a Yoo-hoo and a stamp collection, and here we go. Welcome back, Postables, and we have somebody very, very special and very dear to all of our hearts to introduce to you, Mr. Geoff Gustafson. Hi, Geoff.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to Deliver Me a Podcast. We are so happy that you're here.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. It's really fun.
Oh, and I brought you a little something. Here you go.
Oh, you do? Get out of here.
All right. So how have you been during quarantine? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? Have you picked up any new hobbies or anything like that?
Just before quarantine, I actually got a new dog. So I adopted, well, I don't know. Do you adopt a dog? Yes, I guess you adopt a dog. I got a golden doodle, 8-week-old. So I spent a good part of the quarantine being a dog dad, which was awesome because I live by myself. So I ran the risk of being a bit lonely, but my dog Lou, she kept me tons of company and kept me on my toes. Yeah.
My brother and his family, they just adopted a golden doodle. So that's kind of
wow.
funny.
Yeah, they're so fun. They're perfect for they're perfect for me. She doesn't shed. She's very quiet. Well, so far. I mean, she's still very quiet. Super well behaved, very smart. Very trainable. And now she's old enough she can go to doggy daycare, which gives me some time in the afternoon to get some work done if I need to get some work done and stuff. So.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. And what's your favorite quarantine snack that you've been munching on?
Oh man, this is so boring. I started a salad a day. Which is
that's actually a really good idea. Yeah. I wish I could do that.
Avoid the quarantine 15 salads.
One of the other things that I did during quarantine, one of my brothers is a personal trainer. And so I would do online via Zoom workouts with him every morning. And he used to be a chef and stuff. So he's got this business where he does the full, counseling and diet needs and workouts and plans and stuff. So he put me on this really healthy one. And goodness he did. 'Cause man, it's bathing suit season. And if I didn't I have a dad bod at the best of times. So I just didn't need to add the COVID part to it, I guess. I don't know. So I did, but I've been doing a salad a day. So I just make a point of making a sentence. So boring, but I do it and it's been delish.
Hey, it's better than some alternatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than a pizza a day,
Yeah.
Fair enough. Or ice cream a day. I mean, that'd be especially
no comment.
Yeah, no judgment if anyone's doing that. I don't know if it happens to pizza myself.
Hey, you know what? If there's one thing I learned during quarantine was just about everybody that I've spoken to that I'm close to has really felt like they've really reset during this time and had a lot of opportunity to focus on where they put their energy and who is being served by that energy. And I think a lot of people that I know have realized that maybe they spend a bit too much time worrying about stuff that doesn't really matter. So if you want to eat ice cream every day, why wouldn't you? It's delicious.
Indeed. You said that you have a couple of brothers. How many siblings do you have?
Oh, I have 3 brothers and a sister.
Oh, I understand her pain.
Oh, no. They're two different families. My parents got divorced when I was real little.
Oh, okay.
So, no, my sister is on my dad's side, and she's the youngest. And she just had a baby right before quarantine, too.
Oh, wow.
That'll be keeping her busy.
Right?
That'll be keeping her busy.
Yeah. Oh, man, she's such a great mom. obviously haven't had much chance to go and visit her, but as soon as we could, she lives in an area of BC called Vancouver Island. So she's over in a little town called Nanaimo with her husband and her son. And man, she is such a great mom. She just is like, she's so happy. She and her husband are just like, they're fantastic parents. It's so nice to see. I'm quite a bit older than my siblings. She's about 13 years younger than me, but she's it was just so nice to see her like really blossom. It's so great. She's a terrific mom.
That's wonderful. Yeah, my oldest brother is 13 years older than I am, and it's completely biological. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's we've got a big family. So, we bring you all of the well wishes and love from the Postables. They are so excited to hear from you and to hear what you have to say, and they are so excited that you're giving an interview because it's been a while. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
All right. And yes, I just have to say you broke our Twitter when I was like, you broke our Twitter. The Postables went crazy. I mean, good in a good way, of course.
Yeah, between you and Eric, we were bombarded.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. They love you. They love you guys.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear that. That's like, it's nice to. It's been a while since we did a film, and it's nice to hear that people haven't lost faith and that they're still excited about the prospect of another one.
There's a rewatch every Friday night.
Get out.
No, every Friday
Make
night.
it on Twitter and tweet together.
Yeah, and then when they get to the altar, then they just start over.
Yep. I hear it. That's fantastic. What a treat.
Yeah, they love you. They love you guys.
And that's part of why we're doing it too, because we do miss the show so much. And we were like, you know what, let's just do this series because, we haven't recapped it and it's a whole lot of fun. So
it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. So Geoff, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into acting?
Well, actually, okay. How did I get into acting? I started in high school, like a lot of people. That was a super long time ago. But then when I graduated high school, I joined a comedy troupe in the town that I'm from, where Crystal Lowe is from as well, a town called Maple Ridge. And so we did that for a little bit, and then I went away to university. And to be honest, my grades were not particularly good. And so I had to go, I discovered that to go to the University of Victoria on Vancouver Island, that it was a little bit easier to get accepted if you went in the summertime. So I applied and I got in, and I went and spoke to academic counseling and had sort of set up my schedule for the next 3 years to finish my English degree. And then near the end of the summer, about a week before the fall semester started, I was living in residence at the university, and I got a letter from the theater department, and it said that I was the next one on the wait list to get into the acting program. And the truth is, I had totally forgotten that I had applied, and it wasn't on my radar at all. But I guess I had ticked a box for what I was interested in. And I was like, I love acting. But it never really occurred to me that I would do an acting degree. But I got so excited. As soon as I got on the phone and I called the department of the theater and spoke to a woman named Catherine. And she was like, you know what? Call me tomorrow, or call me on Wednesday. It was a Monday. Call me on Wednesday, and I'll let you know if you're in. And she called me the next day and said that I was in. So that was how I got into it, by accident.
Wow.
And then I still actually didn't really think that I was going to be an actor. It seemed really far fetched to me. My family is, for the most part, they're pretty academic. My parents were teachers. My mom is a professor. My stepfather is a pathologist. My cousin's a lawyer. My other cousin's a nurse. Like, everybody is very, very well educated. So I really felt maybe a bit of a sense of obligation to go into something that that was a bit more academic. So I ended up doing a theater and education degree with the intent of, I guess, being a drama teacher or something. But then when I finished my degree at the end of 99 and moved back to Vancouver in 2000, I kind of a series of weird events sort of happened where I was in a position where I could take this like really great job working in childcare, and just decided I kind of bumped into a woman named Erin Karpluk, who is an actress as well. She did a show in Canada called Being Erica for a number of years. And
I've heard of it.
Yeah. And she said, you should really give it a stab. And so I kind of followed her lead and didn't have a whole lot of success for a couple of years. And then I decided to move to Toronto. And then that's when things really turned around for me. That's when I started doing a ton of commercials in Canada. And then after a couple of years of doing that, it wasn't really what I liked it, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I moved back to Vancouver, and I miss my family a lot. So I moved back to Vancouver and really haven't looked back. That was 2005. So 15 years ago, just about this time, 15 years ago. And haven't really looked back. It's been pretty steady work since. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
Wow.
Great.
That's awesome. So you and Crystal have known each other for quite some time. She's also told us that. And you both were in Primeval New World together? Is that correct?
Yeah. Oddly enough, we barely worked together on that show. We were both like, we worked all the time, but I was this weird military guy, and she was like worked with the main leads. So we were together for like whatever that is, 4 or 5 months working, but we didn't have a ton of scenes together. We knew who each other were, and we filmed in Maple Ridge a lot. Our main studio was Maple Ridge.
Right. Gotcha. That's always a fun story when, Crystal told us that you guys happen to always run into each other.
Into each other.
Yeah. She's significantly younger than I am. But we have mutual friends. Like my closest friend's younger brother was in the same grade as her boyfriend, who was a little bit older. So there was a kind of a strange connection there.
Did anybody follow that?
So my closest friends are the Labine brothers. So Cam Labine, who works for Ubisoft as a lead writer, and then his younger brother, Tyler Labine, is quite a successful actor as well. He's on a show called New Amsterdam. Yeah. So he was in the same grade as Crystal's boyfriend.
Okay.
Gotcha.
A bit older than Crystal. So that's kind of how we connected. So we would see each other occasionally at parties and stuff. And I don't know, did she tell you anything about what she used to look like when she was in high school?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let her share that with you. She was very, I don't know. What can I say? I don't think anything I can say is appropriate, to be honest. Yeah. She was quite, I don't know. She had like a very Jennifer Lopez, Jenny from the Block thing going on for a while.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Very baggy pants and halter tops. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I like outing her a lot. So,
well, just a little teaser for the end. You might have a chance to out a lot of people a lot when we get to our little fun segment at the end.
Oh boy! Okay,
we'll save that for later.
We've got a little SSD version of Teen Beat. So
okay.
So
prepare.
Yeah. So another project that you were in that I actually did not realize you were in until, just very recently is Once Upon a Time. You were the 8th dwarf, Stealthy, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Sure. Like the truth is I didn't do a ton of work on that show, but just being a part of that show at that time, I remember being on set the morning after they had premiered, and it was such an incredible experience. The main leads, Ginny and
Josh.
Jennifer wasn't there that day, but they were so excited, and the executive producers were they had done, their numbers were fantastic. And it was just such a cool experience to be around. And then they promptly put an arrow in my chest. And it was tons of fun. It was like a massive production, like they did such a fantastic job. And then they would bring me back every season or so just to kind of fit me in somewhere. But it was pretty, I did actually feel quite honored that I got to be like the dwarf that nobody knew existed.
Yeah.
Created this like, I guess this like fairy tale about my existence and how I saved Grumpy. And when he and Snow White met for the first time. And it was pretty fantastic. It is, I am the tallest dwarf. I don't know if you've noticed that. And I'm never the tallest anything. Like, I'm not even the tallest sibling. I'm like, so it's, sometimes when I'm watching that show, I'm like, oh, maybe if I had just been a bit shorter, they would have used me more. But it was fun. A lot of time in the chair getting prosthetics on. It would take the turnaround was there was some very, very long days on that show. Kudos to the other dwarves because they had to do it a lot. Man, it was. I actually. Here's something. I didn't have my own prosthetic ears and nose. I actually have, I'm not going to get this right, but I have two of the other dwarves. Like I have one, I think I have Dopey's ears and then maybe somebody else's nose. I can't remember. I make this up, but like Sleepy's nose or something, like it's not, they kind of,
jigsaw you together.
Yeah. They kind of, were like Frankensteined me a bit.
Human jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
But that's so fun. And we're glad that they brought you back a couple of times because, I mean, the story is just so intricate. You have the past and then the future, and it's all combining in some weird convoluted way. So
and the underworld and stuff was really a neat part that was fun to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So moving on to Hallmark, you've done quite a few projects outside of Signed, Sealed, Delivered. And one that was quite a switch was Darrow and Darrow, which, spoiler alert, you played the murderer. What was it like creating a character like that after playing someone like Norman for so long?
I had totally forgotten I was the murderer.
Well, apparently that left an impression.
No, it wasn't me. Wasn't it my wife? Wasn't she the murderer in the end?
Either I haven't watched it in a while, but either you were the murderer or you covered. Either you were the murderer or you covered it. Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to protect my wife in the end.
You were involved.
You were involved.
I was definitely, I was a criminal.
An accomplice.
It was fun. I'd worked with the director before on Psych, and and he he ran a pretty tight ship, but he was pretty like easygoing in terms of like finding a bit of humor here and there. And working with Kim and Tom was such a treat. Like Tom has been in Vancouver for a very long time. He's obviously had success in the United States as well, but it was really, really great to get to work with a guy like that. And Kim is awesome too. Like such a great, so welcoming, both of them. And I actually bumped into Kim at a TCA event, and I've since we've started Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I've had to start wearing glasses. My eyes have not aged as well as my skin. And that sounded really like arrogant.
No. You look great. You have every right to say it.
All right. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. But I actually bumped into her at a TCA event, but I hadn't brought my glasses, and I totally thought she was someone else.
Oh, no.
I was talking to her, and then I realized afterwards, I was like, why was that so awkward? And I put my glasses on, and I was like, oh, my God, what have I done? I was like, that's when I realized, I was like, I got to wear my glasses all the time because this can't happen ever again. Yeah, Darren, it was a ton of fun. It was, Hallmark is very gracious in terms of like, offering me parts and giving me opportunities to work. So I do feel like a bit of responsibility to make sure that I do the work. I think sometimes it's a bit easy to, Hallmark has like a very broad demographic in terms of what it's, where it draws its audience from. And and I think with that, sometimes it can feel like a little bit like maybe you can take a day off or be a bit easy about your work on that. And so getting to do something different than Norman, who is very, very particular and very specific in his behaviors and physicality and stuff, and getting to kind of stretch outside of that was a lot of fun. And Hallmark does a good job in terms of like encouraging me to do that. So it was a lot of fun. It was a long time ago.
It was a while back. Yeah.
The turnaround on these things is not always quick. I think they're on their fourth. They just did their fourth. That was the second one that I did.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another one that you did that made me laugh was the professor in Emma Fielding.
Oh my God.
Because you were very not Norman-like, and it just made me giggle because I like seeing actors in different types of work, so that was always fun to see too. But
and I loved you in Right Before Christmas. I just thought you as Drew Seeley's big brother and manager was just. I never would have put the two of you together, but you worked really well together.
Thank you. Yeah, Drew's a really terrific guy. I to be honest, embarrassingly, I knew who he was, but I hadn't realized how significant his musical career was. Like he's a very accomplished singer.
Yep.
He sang Zac Efron's parts.
Yeah,
he did. High School Musical.
I mean, honestly, Hallmark, I get to work with like fantastic people at Hallmark. It's a real privilege.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you have an upcoming project that I believe just was filmed with Paul Campbell and Kimberly Sustad, the Wedding Every Weekend. Is there anything that you can tell us about it or tease about it?
I'm hilarious in it.
I would expect nothing less.
Well, you and Paul, wow, that's going to be a trip for 2 hours.
Yeah, well, we play very close friends.
Oh boy.
I'm not sure. I feel like I should be a little bit careful in terms of what I share because I don't actually know.
Oh, of course.
It's a bit of a strange time. We got to work when one of the first shows back in Vancouver when we could get out of quarantine. But I hadn't realized, and my agents didn't tell me, but I had booked it like probably the day before quarantine, and then quarantine happened. So they didn't tell me about it because obviously they didn't know what world it was in at that point.
Right.
So it was an absolute shock to like, basically, okay, guys, quarantine's over. And then the agents call, okay, hey, Geoff, this show that we didn't tell you about is back on and they're going to time. And I was like, what? Where's that? I've just been like relaxing so much for 3 months and now I'm back to work so aggressively. But it was a ton of fun. It, Kevin Fair directed it and he directs a lot of delivered stuff and he and I are quite close friends. So such a treat to get to work with him. I do have to say that our COVID coordinator, I think that's the title. She was excellent. The protocols for safety stuff on set were spectacular and
good.
I felt very safe and they do the tests every day and they everybody's in their masks and there's like very specific social distancing stuff going on. So I was a bit wary of it, but they put that to rest very quickly and I was very comfortable, felt very safe.
That's great.
Yeah. Paul Campbell is an incredible treat to work with. Again, one of the things that was really nice about this was that the cast was all Canadian, which rarely happens on a Hallmark.
Yes.
So it was such a treat to kind of get back to it in Vancouver with Vancouverites. Like it felt like it felt like a bit of a celebration, to be honest. And Kim Susted was so welcoming. She actually worked on Primeval New World a tiny bit. She played Niall Mater's wife.
Oh, okay.
And then she had, anyways, but we knew of each other, but I don't think that we had met. I think we had met briefly at a coffee shop through another actress in town, a woman named Sarah Canning. But I knew that she was funny, but I hadn't realized, like, she is hilarious. And her and Paul together, they're quite close friends as well. They both have young families and stuff, and they do social stuff together. But they are incredibly competitive with each other. Like,
oh dear,
it's so funny. There's a scene where we go and play flag football, and they're on opposing teams.
Oh
and
dear.
The stuff that they were saying to each other in between takes is some of the funniest stuff that I've seen, that I've been around on set. Like, it was hilarious. They have fantastic chemistry together, and they clearly get along very well, and they get each other's humor. And it was just really, again, just a nice treat to be around that, especially coming back from the quarantine and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Wow. All right, Postables. Grab your yoo-hoo, because here we go. we're getting deep into the Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Let's go.
So what drew you to Norman's character? He's the kind of an odd fella, you know?
Yeah.
And endearing, of course.
Yeah. There's a handful of things. I think Martha Williamson is such a fantastic writer, and she is so generous in terms of the way that she collaborates. So she presented this idea of this, very introverted, nervous, shy, stamp collector, postal worker guy. And just through a series of conversations and a little bit of filming and stuff, we landed on his very mixed background and family structure. And I come from my family is quite different. My siblings are a lot younger than me. They're in two different families. I didn't grow up with them all the time, and et cetera. Mm-hmm. And because I am a fair bit older, I missed a lot of my youngest brother is 16 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. So I did really glom onto this rich, maybe unorthodox family structure that Martha had painted for me. And out of that, I exaggerated some of my own kind of anxiousness around fitting in and feeling a bit self-conscious at times. And she encouraged it, and Martha encouraged it, and really helped flesh out this very, like, he's a very determined, loving entity on the show. Like I feel like sometimes he's braver than I am, just given sort of his fears of acceptance and being understood. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's like, the truth is I kind of wish I could meet him. Not because I think I'm like a fantastic, fascinating actor, but like there's just something, I don't know. There's a little Peter Pan-iness about him that I think I would just like to see him in action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put him in some different scenarios and see how he does. Like, I don't know, chaperoning a prom or something.
Oh my goodness! That would be hysterical.
Bring out the field kit and everything. Oh, he had so much fun with that.
Sunglasses.
Totally.
Oh my goodness!
Weird squeaky chicken for no reason.
So, what would you say is the biggest way your relationship has grown with your castmates since the first table read?
Whoa. So much time. Okay, could you ask me that one more time just so I'm like getting it?
What would you say is the biggest way your relationship with your castmates has grown since the first table read?
That's a tough question. There's a lot of different ways. You know, I would probably say Eric has, there's a zillion ways to answer this question. Eric maybe has like the kind of experience in this industry that you dream about. He was on an incredibly successful show for a number of years, and he's experienced like some of the massive pros of that. And then again, like some of the stories he tells about how challenging it is to be in that position. So I learned a ton about the industry from that guy. I remember there's a scene where, is it in the pilot or the first episode where I meet the older woman and we fawn over stamps together, and then I find out that she passed away.
That's the first episode.
Yeah. And we're at a concert or some sort of a dancing event where there's like music and dance happening, and there's this camera push through the crowd onto me, and I'm holding the stamps, and I realize that she's passed away, and I put my head on his shoulder, and that was like the first take.
Oh my God.
And I was like really felt it in the moment, but it was kind of a bit wide. Like it wasn't really the one that they were going to would land on, it was like, didn't get all the way in. And I was like, kind of like, like resetting a bit. And he put his arm around me and I was like, man, this is really hard. And he went, yeah, welcome to the jungle. And I was like, whoa, I feel like I just made it. It was such a treat. And then, like obviously Crystal and I come from the same place. I think her journey has been quite a bit different, just by nature of, her age and gender and, a number of other reasons. And, I just think the world of her just as a person, and then to get to work with somebody who's so available as an actress. And, I learned a lot about feeling kind of safe, I guess. Like we do a lot of like very intimate emotional work together, and not something that I ever really thought that I would end up getting to do, just kind of by nature of the way that the path of my career was going. And to get to work with somebody like that, I think just feeling like comfortable and safe and, cared for in that is pretty, I don't know if it's rare, but it feels rare to me. And I'm just incredibly grateful for her. And then Boothie is like, again, like her expertise in the way that she goes about her craft and the way that she shows up every day and like just her strength of character and lack of ego and she's an incredibly successful person, and I think it would be very easy for somebody with less strength of character to rely on that and not show up for work to work every day. You hear you hear horror stories about actors and actresses all the time, but to be honest, I think that if I was to sort of glom that all into one thing, I would say probably that if you really do put your best foot forward and you really do try to stay humble and you really do try to do your best work all the time, and if you can put yourself in a position to trust the people that are around you, you can have like incredible success and feel very rewarded in that, whether or not you end up making, I don't know, millions and millions of dollars or win an Oscar or an Emmy or whatever. It kind of becomes a little bit irrelevant when you enjoy. I really enjoy working on the show, and I feel just tremendous gratitude for the opportunity to work with those three, and plus Kevin Fair as the director, and Martha Williamson, and of course Joel Rice as the executive producer. And since we did the pilot, 7 years ago. I would just say just like my personal growth and development and just confidence in this industry and it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be filled with ego. It can really sincerely be filled with generous, authentic artists. And I'm just incredibly grateful for it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And we've talked to, you're the fourth that we've talked to, the fourth postable.
The last one.
You're the last one.
You're the last holdout.
Save the last. Save the best for last.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they all echo your.
Number 4 on the call sheet.
Yeah.
Important member of the team.
But they all echo your sentiments. They just love work. The 4 of you, obviously, and it shows on screen and obviously off screen now that you all just, adore each other and love working with each other. Speaking of working with each other, do you have any memorable behind the scenes stories that you could, or a story you could share with the Postables?
Especially about being Carol Burnett's grandson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is very leading, but yes.
Well, any behind the scenes is awesome, but I mean, we cannot imagine what it would have been like to be Carol Burnett's grandson on screen.
Oh my goodness. So a tiny bit of backstory. My dad, he introduced me to the Carol Burnett show. And I loved it. I remember we would sit there, and it's one of those things where I think about, like, when I think about my dad, I think about the Carol Burnett show a lot. Just like Harvey Korman breaking character and Carol Burnett's Tarzan yell and stuff. And it's just like, it was such a dream come true when they said that she was going to play my grandmother. And I told my dad, and he was beside himself. He thought it was like I had said, like I'd won $1 billion. Like he just could not. He was so excited, so excited. So I was a bit nervous, right? Because she's a genius. And I didn't want to overdo it, right? Like I didn't want to go in and like try to be funny and stuff. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do my normal thing. And she shows up and the first scene, she does this really hilarious thing where she mistakes Eric for me. Yeah. She tells him how he gets and stuff. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be so hard to keep up with because already she's hilarious. And so we do this little thing where in that scene, a correction's made, and then she, takes my arm, and then we go to walk up this flight of stairs in the Mailbox Grill. And then they go, cut. And then she doesn't let go of my arm. And she kind of starts dancing back down the stairs backwards. And I was like, oh, this is happening. This is happening. I'm doing a weird dancey improv-y thing with Carol Burnett right now. And she just kept doing it. It was like probably like a good 20 seconds of it. And I was like, oh my God, I hope they were still rolling. Oh, I hope they have that on film. I don't think that they do, but man, those are the things that happen on this show. Like, Valerie Harper as well. And Valerie Bertinelli. Yeah. I had on my 40th birthday, I had lunch with Dick Van Dyke. Oh my
gosh.
Yeah. He ended up not being able to do the show for, I can't remember why he couldn't. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But he ended up not being able to do the show. But these are the kinds of experiences that I get to have at Hallmark. And it's just like, for a guy from like a tiny, it's not a tiny town, but for a guy that is from like a town outside of Vancouver, it's every time I think about these things, I'm like, that didn't happen to me. That's like a different me. Like somebody's telling me that I could have done this, but
right.
It's crazy. Like, Eric and I, man, we would in between takes, we're just like doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing or making fun of Kevin for some reason. I would make fun of Kevin Fair's wife. I'd never met her. I would pretend to be her and how irresponsible she is and stuff. She's not. She's awesome. She's hilarious. But it just weird fun stuff like that. When you have these super long days. When we were shooting the season, it was pretty grueling.
I bet.
Not as grueling as it could have been, but and we're shooting an hour at a town. You just you really do just start relying on each other to kind of keep your spirits up because it's super easy to get exhausted and cranky and stuff. So, just little things they'd all of a sudden just somebody would hand me a really great Americano misto. I'd be like, who got this? Oh, Boothie got this for you. She sent somebody to get coffees for everybody. I'm like, oh man, how do I get so it's too hot. It's too hot. Put this hot coffee in my hand. Throw it in the garbage. Get out of here. Bet your crystals is a perfect room temperature.
Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the big bear that was in several of the episodes?
Do you mean Beartazar?
Yes.
Yes, we mean Beartazar.
The very wise bear, yes.
I have no idea. Okay.
When we did the recap, we were wondering what was the story behind it. Was Martha's nephew a hunter, and she decided to put that in or something like that?
Honestly, as far as I know, it was the designer's choice. They had this bear, and they thought it would be funny.
Okay.
And they didn't move it. It just was there forever. And every time, because they would have to tear that set down, because it was at a place called Britannia Mines, which is like an old museum area just outside of Squamish. And in there they would have a seat, like their busy season, so they would need this space. So we would have to like clear that out, and then every year the bear would be back. Like they wouldn't get rid of it; they'd keep the bear. So I think we ended up having to move that set out to Mission, and I think I can't remember if the bear came with us. I think it did once, and then I think it disappears after. I can't remember which one. Yeah. So I don't have a story for the bear. The bear just was like somebody thought it was funny and it stuck.
Hey, that's cool.
Maybe the bear will pop back up in the new DLO.
It'll be a chain in Oliver's wedding. So
yes, yeah. He'll choose that over me as his best man. I do have a story about. I don't think you can see it in your background there, Kaycee, but there is a swear jar.
Oh, we know about the swear jar.
Yeah.
Please tell us. Yes.
So you weren't allowed to swear on set. It was one of Martha's rules, and it was like really, in terms of like working for Hallmark, it really does make a lot of sense. We do really pride ourselves on creating family appropriate entertainment.
Right.
There's not violence, So she had she said on day one, she said, "Look, I have a really specific rule. There'd just be no cursing on set." And again, somebody in the design department hung this swear jar in the corner in between Eric's desk and my desk, and it was there all the time. Like and then sometimes there'd be more money in it, and then there's other times there'd be less money. You'd be like, "Oh, I wonder who got to empty out the swear jar." So yeah, there's like this. It's a pretty eclectic pile of weird stuff that really does make a ton of sense when you consider what these postal detectives are doing.
Right.
Well, then in that case, that was actually one of our Team Beat questions that we've asked Eric and Crystal now. So I feel like it's appropriate to ask you, who contributes the most money to the swear jar?
As far as you know.
Oh, that's a good question. To be totally honest, and I would tell you if this wasn't true, for the most part, like really probably 99% of the time, like people just like really took that note from Martha and really respected it. You would like sometimes occasionally you would get like a new crew member or something, and they might drop an F-bomb or, something, and you'd be like, "Oh God, no swearing on set." Okay. And they'd be like, "Oh, seriously?" Yeah. Yeah, no swearing. Don't let Martha hear you. No. So yeah, I don't think so. Probably me. I probably was the worst.
Really?
Okay. Wow. Well, he's the first person to drop himself under the bus.
Right. Well, so
why? Who did they say?
Oh, yes. So actually, this started on Twitter. Somebody asked about the swear jar and if it was a functioning swear jar, and so Eric name dropped Kristen, and then Kristen name dropped Crystal. And then when we talked to Crystal, she said it was her because she'll double swear. Like she'll like, and then she'll like swear for swearing again.
Yes,
so.
she definitely does that. And you make fun of that every single time. Yeah. Yeah. No, now that I think about it, Boothie, if she's in one of her moods. No, not at all. But yeah, occasionally, every now and then, it can be pretty. If the timing is just so, it can be very funny.
Yeah,
like tension after a long day or something. Or even just like, like if you look at somebody and then just mouth it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
I didn't say it. I didn't engage.
So what is your favorite movie and or episode of the series? Or do you have a favorite scene that you really love to film? Any of that?
Wow. Yeah. Look, there's a zillion scenes in that.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Mentioning, but off the top of my head, obviously working with Carol Burnett was fantastic. There's the scene in the mine was super challenging because it was quite noisy in there. So they had to make a few adjustments that were a bit, it meant that we had to shoot it kind of in one piece, which can be quite challenging.
Sure.
But it was really good. That was really fun. But there's a scene earlier in that where I asked for help to open the papers that reveal my biological family.
Oh, it made me cry.
Yeah. And that made me cry a lot. But it was like, that scene was really great. Not just because it was a challenging scene to prepare for and, try to do justice to. And the writing was so like bang on that. But because the three actors that are looking at me are so engaged and so generous in the energy that they're giving me. It was like, it almost made the scene like easy because they were so invested in and sincerely invested in this moment of terror that we've come to understand that Norman is very concerned about feeling like he belongs, that he has a very extensive vision of what his family is in terms of like everybody's a cousin. But then you discover that he does have a connection to somebody biological and you don't know who it is. And he's really afraid of being rejected on that level. And so I would say that's like maybe my favorite scene. That being said, if that's 1A, 1B would be the marriage proposal scene. I love that scene so much. And Crystal is perfect in it. That she's so like confused when I'm like talking about the time that we met. And it was like, she's again, I can't emphasize enough how fortunate I am to work with like these generous actors. So that I love that scene. And I'm trying to remember, I think I was either I had just gotten married or I was just about to go away and get married for real.
Oh.
And I there was like just something. Martha and I had a very limited conversation about it. And Kevin Fair, the director, and I had talked a bit about it. And I just like, there was just something so real about it. And I guess also because the growth of Norman and Rita together as a couple they really took their time, like they didn't just kind of like make it happen right away.
Right.
It was like a full season before they even kissed kind of thing, so to get to that place and really, and not to mention that Crystal is so beautiful and, to daydream about being married to her is not that hard to do. So, I would say that scene, like, there's like an undertone of sincerity that I think is pretty rare. And like, for me anyways, in terms of like being really in Norman's fear again of being, even though he knows it's right, that there's still that fear of being rejected in that moment when she says yes and then he says thank you. And then the kneeling and the crawling towards each other. And
it's so sweet. It's so cute.
And like, it's like, it's just very joyful. So
yes.
Yeah, those are probably my two faves.
If you could pick the one moment when Norman knew he loved Rita, what do you think that would be? Because we kind of find out that Norman pretty much admits it in an Impossible Dream when Rita is on stage. But what and you know, it's a very, very, very slow burn relationship.
Yeah.
But do you think that there's one moment when Norman knew that he was in love with Rita?
Well, I think it happens before the show starts, right? I think when he talks in the marriage proposal, when he says that's the woman I'm going to sort a lot of mail with, I think he knew in that moment. I think it was love at first sight. But I think that there's like I'm trying to think, like, this is a long time ago, but there's a couple of scenes. There's a scene where she comes in and she's really glammed up, and we get to really see how like stunning.
Yeah.
You know it, but
yeah, we know her, that one.
With her hair, and it's like, whoa, holy smokes. I think they did this thing where they wanted there's like a fan that blows her hair.
Yes.
Also blows mine.
Yes. Talked about that, yeah.
Crystal talked about it.
I don't think that, I'm not suggesting that it was like a shallow attraction. I think there's just like I think there's a moment there where he realizes that she like him is more than what's on the surface. Mm-hmm. You know, that there's a lot of depth of character to Rita, and that she has this like outrageous beauty that is available to her, but she chooses to express that in a ton of different ways. Mm-hmm. I think probably I remember like they said something about like, oh, I think it was Kevin, maybe it wasn't Kevin. Can't remember who, the director anyways. They were like, oh, maybe you have a moment of like being overwhelmed and you can't talk. And I didn't even have to act because I hadn't seen her before that. And she kind of walked in, and I was like, oh, right, you're so gorgeous. Oh, I forgot that about you. So yeah, I would say probably that moment. Mm-hmm. It had to happen super early, right? Because there's no animosity between the two of them. There's a Norman trying to manage his I keep wanting to say neuroses, but I don't think that's reasonable. I think I think just his I don't know, what would you call Norman's fears? He has like so many like
his self-doubt, I would probably say.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it for sure. Yeah, his deep-seated self-doubt that he knows. I feel like at the core, Norman has this like, he knows that he's a genuine person and he knows the value of that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's a fear maybe that people won't know that, or that people won't see it. And I think that there's some paralysis in that for him. Like I said, though, I think he's an incredibly brave character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he grows a whole lot during the entire series too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he goes from having that weird hobbit hair to a more Oliver-esque hair and style.
Right.
He's pretty like kind of like crawls out of a little hole for a second, and then and then by the end he's like dressing himself and tying his ties and stuff. You know, like a great scene where Zach Santiago's character Ramon ties his he's Rita, and he's
slapping him in the face.
That weird like giant like cartoon tie, whatever it was that was on there.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that was a fun scene. Well, we have a little special request. We talked to an author named Rachel Fordham, and she wrote a book called Yours Truly, Thomas, and part of it takes place in a DLO in 1883.
Oh, wow.
And she's a huge fan of the show, but she wrote the book before she found the show, which makes it even cooler. So she asked her kids what they would ask you if they ever got a chance. And so Gideon, who is age 6, said, "You're the best, Norman. Did you really eat the spicy peppers?"
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Gideon. I think you're pretty cool. That's great. Did I really okay, I can answer this 2 ways. Norman definitely ate the peppers. Jeff definitely did not. Yeah. Norman is on the verge of death. Jeff was saved by Crafty. Crafty saved the day there. A less potent pepper.
Walter is 4, and he wants to know what your favorite cartoon is.
Oh, okay. Hey, Walter. Wally. Yeah, I probably shouldn't call you that. I'll let somebody else nickname you. Okay, Walter, my favorite cartoon. Okay, let me just think. Let me think super hard on this because, again, I can answer this in a number of different ways. My favorite animated film is maybe Totoro. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm. Totoro, yes.
Totoro. I love that. I just watched it recently. And then, like, my favorite, like, cartoon, I really loved He-Man and G.I. Joe when I was a kid. I loved Disney so much. Am I allowed to say that?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're all Disney fans here.
Like maybe a little more mainstream thing. I do have the Disney Channel. I'm just rocking Disney. Disney better hire me. Actually, when I go out, I play Disney movies for my dog. I leave a Disney movie on. I don't know. There's a part of me that like goes like, maybe, in her waning dog years, she'll remember.
I leave Hallmark on for my dog, so that's okay.
In Canada, we don't have the Hallmark channel. So
I know. It's so sad.
Yeah. Okay, I really want to answer this for Walter. Okay. I would say my favorite animated film is, I really like Robin Hood, the one with the animals.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite, and when I was probably Walter's age. Yeah.
Right. Titus, age 9, would like to know: do you let
kids?
I know they're not. That's not even all of them. He wants to know if you like Rita's cookies and how many cousins do you really have. And then he also says, we have foster kids at our house, so you're our favorite.
Oh, wow. Titus. Oh, my gosh. Okay, do I really like Rita's cookies? I think that...
Because you had to shove one in your mouth.
Yeah. That was in the Christmas special.
Right.
Yeah, I think... Titus, I think the answer is... Norman really, really loves Rita and doesn't ever want her to feel like her best efforts aren't appreciated. So I would say he loves that she loves baking cookies for him. I would say that he probably isn't a super fan of said cookies. And then the next part of the question was... How
many cousins do you really have? You.
Oh, Jeff or Norman?
Jeff. How many?
Oh, that's so hard because I have my family's massive because there's 2 of them.
So more than Norman or less? On par. Or on par.
Yeah, I honestly, I probably have, between my mom, my dad, my stepmom, and my stepdad, I probably have 30.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of family. Is it 30? That might be an exaggeration. Maybe closer to 20. Maybe 20.
Well, I have 89 first cousins on my dad's side, so that's the thing.
Well, it's not a competition, Kaycee. I'll have you had nothing to do with that.
All right, the time has come. It is time for our Teen Beat SSD style. Okay. So, Jeff, on set, who is most likely to play a prank?
Boofy.
Oh, really? That's not the answer the other 3 gave.
Well, Crystal said, Crystal said Kristen.
Yeah.
Crystal said Kristen.
And Eric said you.
But she also said Jeff.
Yeah, look. Depends on the day.
Or you guys join forces and do pranks together?
If I have a late call, meaning like if I get to start later in the day, and my mood is in a much better place than, say, Cranky Pants, who's been there since 5:45 getting my hair done. It takes forever. Then, yes, I will definitely poke the bear. But Boothie does her fair share of prank playing. She's
what's the
dark side?
What was that?
She has a dark side.
Oh, we know.
Yeah,
we saw her Lifetime movie.
Oh, right. Yeah. Was that the one with her and Crystal?
Yes. She played the psychopathic killer.
Nice. Oh, there you
So
go.
what's the best prank or joke that you've ever pulled? Kristen told us about the 8 Kleenex boxes in the table read because she was going to start crying the second that you guys started reading the script. That was her favorite.
Yeah, well, that's not really a prank, though. That was just like the fantastic writing. So what was the question again?
What's the best prank or joke that you've ever pulled on set?
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough one. Like we're talking about, it's like there's so many years. Racking my brain now because it's like I feel like this is.
What's one that pops in your brain that comes quickly to mind?
Oh, you know what? This is so cheesy. This is so childish. But
we like it.
Yeah, but no, it's too goofy. Okay, so making fart noises is always a killer. Like always a killer. And you do it subtly. It must drive the sound people crazy because we'll get into like a non-stop like right before the take starts, you'll just give her a little See? Inappropriate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just toot noises. Make fart noises like children.
There you go.
Too funny. Well, Cammy and I both have kids.
Yeah, Kaycee and I are the moms of the group, so we
gotcha.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, and my daughters are 3 and 4, and they've recently discovered the fascination with fart noises. So I mean, it's like
hilarious,
right up our alley here.
Oh man!
I had some guy. I was doing a play one time, and we were waiting in the wings, and he just started doing Flight of the Bumblebee in a fart noise, and it was like I had my role. I played a corpse, like that was my role. Man, I must have been the most alive corpse after that because I could not stop laughing. It was so embarrassing. But
my goodness!
All of a sudden, I was like, "Oh God, what are you doing? Don't do that! I have to go on stage."
Oh man!
Yeah. So, who is most likely to burst out into song between takes?
Oh, that's tough. I would say Eric probably.
Yeah, I think that's what we've heard pretty unanimously.
Yeah. I would say Eric. Although I have a really bad habit of doing musical theater with my lines, I can't sing, so I do that thing where they kind of sing song their lines,
right?
So I can do that occasionally, but I mean consistently, probably Eric. He's a pretty talented musician, to be fair. Yeah.
So, who is most likely to break out into a little dance between takes?
Crystal.
Yep. Unanimous. Who is most likely to be found at craft services between takes?
That's a tough question. Probably me. We've been a line for crafty, but that's because I don't ask the Tad to go and get me crafty like some.
Oh.
Not always waiting for me on my chair.
Who is most likely to laugh at an inappropriate time during filming?
Boothie.
Yep.
Yeah. Hands down. Without question. She will start, she will get to set in like tittering away, giggling about something, and then you can't look at her, you can't say anything. God forbid you should make a fart noise. because it'll just nonstop. She just wants like half the day will go by. That's an exaggeration, but yeah, definitely Boothie.
Funny. So, who is the best dancer among the four of you?
Well, that's tough because Oliver and Shane are always dancing. They get like lessons and stuff. But honestly, Zach Santiago, that guy.
Oh, okay.
That guy does everything. He's a DJ. He's like he was a Golden Gloves boxer. He was like a flamenco dancer. Flamenco. Not a flamingo dancer. Nobody flamingo dancer. Well, I guess flamingos do. A flamenco dancer. That guy is easily the best dancer. But I don't know. Probably just some time between like Shane and Shane and Oliver probably. But they get trained. Like they bring in like a choreographer. Like I'm not
unfair advantage.
We're with you.
Who has the best memory?
Well, Rita's character is supposed to have the best memory. That's probably Eric does tons of work, so he rarely flubs a line. I have a pretty terrific memory too, but probably Eric.
Okay.
Why? Who did they say?
Eric said himself. He said, "How do I say this without sounding arrogant?" but he said, "I had to memorize a whole lot of stuff."
Oh,
in the beginning, so
yes.
Got the speeches.
Yeah,
he does. He's for sure. Like I said, he puts in tons and tons of work, and I think it shows for sure. Like the show's going on because of the work people put.
Mm-hmm. And then who is the best baker or cook? Do you guys bring treats to each other? Oh, it's you.
No, I'm not. Oh man, I have no idea. I have literally no idea. There's so little when we're filming. There's so little time to do that kind of stuff. Like the other three are parents, so I'm sort of assuming that like between they must make food for their kids. So I'm imagining, and the kids are alive, so it must not kill them. So they must be reasonably good at it.
No arsenic needed.
It's good logic. It's good logic.
That they would need to murder their children.
Oh dear.
And now on dark postables. Yeah. But it's not me. I can say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, final question. If the four of you, Crystal, Kristen, Eric, and yourself, if the four of you were trapped on an island, what would each of you be doing until you were rescued?
Okay. Whew, God, this is tough. I have to spread out the responsibility equally. I feel like they would, in all three of them, in one way or another, would probably be keeping me alive. Like somebody would be building a shelter while I crawled and whinged on the ground.
Who do you think would build the shelter out of the four?
Eric. That guy is handsy.
Yep.
That's not the right. Handsy? That doesn't
handy.
Yeah. Please don't say I said handsy. Or you can. That's probably funny.
We can edit it. We can edit it out.
We'll get a phone call from Eric later.
Jeff said I was what?
Yeah, I would hear about that for sure. No, that guy is like, he's got a farm and stuff, and like he's always like talking about fixing fences and moving a cord of wood here or whatever, chopping stuff, and so he would probably do that. Boothie would probably be what would she be doing? She'd be like, again, probably keeping me from dying. Be like out mapping the area and like making sure that we knew where all the stuff was.
Okay.
Her and Crystal, they would probably be out doing that. And then Crystal would probably like literally just like put me somewhere and be like, do not move. Put the shelter over you, idiot. Something like that. And then I would regale them with funny stories at the end of the night. And then when you guys were working so hard, hilarious. Oh man. I gotta go to bed early.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what would happen. I'd be useless. They'd probably eat me at the end. I'd probably be dinner.
Eric said you'd be trying to fish.
Yeah, I probably would. Trying is like really the key there. Yeah.
He said he would be trying to fish and that he would get really, really frustrated when it wasn't working.
Oh, Eric said he would do that.
No, you. Oh,
that I would. Yes, yes, 100%. I find things that don't work as quickly as I would like them to incredibly frustrating. I think things should work immediately, whether I have talent or experience with them. Yeah.
Crystal said that you would probably be trying to figure out how to get off the island. And we hadn't thought of these when we interviewed Kristen. So we don't know what she would think about you. So. Well,
that's good news. I'm sure probably similar to what Crystal said, where Eric said, useless. Did you notice that they both kind of said useless? Yeah. I'd be trying to fish and being frustrated. I'd be trying to get off the island.
She did say you would get frustrated, trying to figure out how to get off the island too.
It's like a pattern.
Well, I would probably have something super important to do, right? Like I'd probably, need to watch baseball or something.
Yeah, we hear you're a very big Blue Jays fan.
I am. Yeah. I mean, I love baseball, period. But my favorite team is definitely the Blue Jays. Yeah.
Oh, Geoff, this has been such a delight. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know that I speak for us here at the podcast and all the Postables when we just loved listening to your stories. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and chat with us. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
It's really my pleasure. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
so good to hear.
Yeah, I think I speak for our cast when in Martha when I say that we're really, really lucky to have such a strong fan base and have people that really continue to promote the show, even though it can take a bit of time in between them and just to keep honestly, you guys keep the show alive. We probably wouldn't be doing it anymore if it wasn't for you guys. So,
well, we're dying for that next one.
You and me both. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. They've been working on the script forever.
Yeah.
Well, not forever, but the script's been around for some time, and I can't. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I have some ideas.
Sure.
Obvious, but I haven't gotten any insider information or anything. But I too am really looking forward to getting back to work with everybody. It's an incredibly fun show to do, and I feel very privileged to get to be a part of something so special.
Well, we feel very privileged to watch you.
Yes.
Do you have any social media that you want to shout out for us to follow if we're not already, or we can definitely help promote your movie coming up?
Sure. I'm so bad at this. This is if there's one thing that my castmates would tell me to be better at, it's probably this. Honestly, I'm actually having to look up what my Instagram handle is because
you're not the first one. You're not.
You are not. You are not the first one to have to do that. So don't feel too bad.
Geoff James. I think you can find me. I didn't know this. I had it on private, and I was like, somebody was like, nobody can find you, dummy. What do I do? Just this. Click, 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 boop, boop. I was like, oh, shoot. Okay.
My bad.
So Geoff James on Insta. And that's cool, right? Is that what the kids say? Insta?
Yeah. That's very hip. Very hip.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That was a Norman answer right there.
I'll tell you what's not hip. My response right there. That wasn't him. Oh, fun. I'm cool, right? And then on Twitter, I'm at Geoff Gustafson. That's super complicated. I didn't know that either. It used to be Stealthy the Eighth.
Oh.
So at Geoff Gustafson on Twitter. Yeah, follow me. I'm not super active on those things, but we live in a pretty wild world right now, and so I do try to be of service where I can. So yeah, if people want to follow me, I won't say no.
All right. Great. Well, thank you so much, and that's it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. For more juicy details and to hear what's coming up, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at DeliverMeAPod and on Instagram at DeliverMeAPodcast. And please check out our merch store for tons of Postables-inspired merchandise to enhance your fandom. See you next week.